In this video, I'm going to be talking about Warhammer 40k Combat Patrol, why I'm really looking forward to it, and why I think we'll see an influx of new players because of it. Hey guys, welcome to Top Table Gaming. You're here with your host Top Table Ben, and as I said in the intro, today I am going to be talking about Warhammer 40k Combat Patrol, which is something that we've just heard about from one of the Warhammer community articles which came out on Friday. So Combat Patrol looks like a new way of playing the game at a much smaller scale than we normally used to. So the majority of games generally in Warhammer 40k are played at either 1500 or 2000 points, and they do tend to go on for kind of a couple of hours at least. Now, Combat Patrol is a smaller way of playing the game, so it's either 500 points or 25 power level, depending on how you want to balance your armies. Some of the lists I've seen for Combat Patrol are as low as 9 models, which is fantastic. So it is a really kind of easy entry point into playing Warhammer 40k. It's going to be played on a table which is 44 inches by 30 inches, which is a much smaller table size than the 6 foot by 4 foot table that we normally play a game of Warhammer 40k on. And it's anticipated that games will take about an hour, which is much shorter than current games tend to last. So what am I looking forward to most about Combat Patrol? So first things first, I'm looking forward to the smaller size of the game. I don't know if any of you guys are a bit like me, but I tend to suffer with long game fatigue. Basically towards the end of a longer game, sort of 2 hours plus, I tend to lose focus a little bit. I'm not working as hard to try and win, and I don't think that's either fair on me, because I tend to, I don't get enjoyment out of particularly long games, but also I don't want to ruin the enjoyment of my opponent if I start to kind of make sloppy moves or make some silly mistakes which kind of either cost me the game or make the game a lot easier for my opponent to win. So by having shorter games, I really feel that I will be more engaged with the game, and on an evening, if I manage to get down to Element Games or anywhere else, I might be able to get 2 or 3 games in on an evening rather than just getting one longer game in. I'm sure many of you guys out there are much like me. You have family lives, you have other hobbies, other interests, work commitments. I'm sure you'll be in the same similar sort of situation to me, so smaller games are a real plus and a real sort of tick in a box for me. The next thing is a low barrier to entry. So one of the things that's kind of put me off Warhammer 40k in the past is just the amount of models and the amount of stuff that you have to paint. Now, don't get me wrong, there will be people out there that are quite happy to play with unpainted models or partially painted models. Personally, I like to play with a fully painted army. It just is far more immersive, and I think it's better for both myself and my opponent. So when I've kind of looked at armies and built armies, the sheer size of a 1500 or 2000 point army has kind of really put me off. It's also the added expense. Warhammer 40k hasn't been my main system, and I want to kind of focus some energy on other games, and I can't afford to dedicate a huge amount of money on a single army for Warhammer 40k. By playing at 500 points, as I said in the earlier on in the video, some of these armies are really small as 9 models. They can be purchased as a start collecting box, so it gives you a flavour of an army without having to go to huge expense to build that army in the first place. It also means that somebody who's got a bit of an interest in an army, so as an example myself, I'm very interested in Tau, and it's an army that I have been really threatening for a long time to start collecting and start building an army for, but I've not got around to it. This is a perfect opportunity for that. A start collecting box set is about 500 points, although that obviously may change in 9th edition, but it just means that I can just get one box, which is £60 in the UK, and it means that I am pretty much good to go for Combat Patrol. Other armies are a little bit like that as well. Another army that is that's kind of piqued my interest to some extent is Adeptus Mechanicus. I love that kind of steampunk aesthetic that the Adeptus Mechanicus have got. So that is another army that I would love to collect models for, but in the past I wouldn't have been able to justify starting a small army of that when there was other armies for me to collect or other armies for me to finish. So I think the barrier to entry, when you're only painting a handful of models and the cost is relatively low, I think we are going to get an influx of people playing the game because of this. I put a bit of a post up on the Top Table Gaming Community Facebook page the other day, saying kind of why, pretty much what I'm saying in this video, why I'm looking forward to it. And there was a lot of people that were in agreement, and people who have never really expressed an interest in playing 40k before have kind of come out of the woodwork now and said, well, yeah, actually, do you know what? It is something that I think I am kind of ready to try. So I really think that we will see an influx of new players because of this. One of the other things that has really kind of drawn me to Combat Patrol as well is the smaller play area. So it is 44 by 30 inches, which is a very reasonable size. Now, I went and measured my kitchen table earlier, and it is going to be perfectly sized for getting games of this size in. For those of you who play Kill Team, it is about twice the size of a Kill Team board. There's a lot of people out there that just don't have the benefit of either a local gaming club. I'm very lucky, I've got Element Games 20 minutes down the road from me. It's a fantastic place to go and play, but not everybody has got a gaming centre which is of that calibre, that close, and has got that level of space. And some people as well aren't going to have room in their homes to be able to have a 6x4 table and have space to set that up. I know personally I've not got that luxury of that space, so by playing on a smaller table, sort of kitchen table size table, I just think that this is going to bring a lot of people out, and people that weren't previously able to play perhaps may now be able to start playing. So from a channel perspective, these smaller games are going to fit in really, really well, and a lot of the points that I've already mentioned are part of that. But when we film battle reports, there's a lot of stuff that you guys won't see. The games, although the game when you're watching it may last an hour or an hour and a half, there's probably been maybe 2 or maybe 3 hours that have gone into creating that battle report in the first place. So it just means that between us we'll be able to get a lot more games and play a lot more frequently, and get content out to you guys hopefully a lot more frequently. Because the armies are smaller as well, as I said, one of the Chaos armies that are listed on the Warhammer community article, there's only 9 models. It means that we will only have to paint smaller armies, so we can get a lot more variety on the channel. If we're spending a lot of time, painting up a 2,000 points force of Ultramarines or Necrons or whatever it is, it's going to take us a long time to get to that point where we're at that 2,000 points. But by limiting it to 500 points, we'll be able to kind of churn through different armies a lot quicker. I've already got plans to start a Chaos army. I was very inspired by the list on the article that was posted up, because it is utilising everything from the Start Collecting box set, which I got when I split the Shadow Spear box with Steve early last year. So I've got that Chaos army ready to go. Obviously need to get some paint on it now, but by the time 9th edition lands, that army will be ready to go. I've also got my eye on a Tau army as well. It's a faction that has really appealed to me for a long time, and it's one that I've been threatening to get involved with for ages and ages. But just because of that, the size of the army that I was anticipating having to build, I've never really kind of pulled the trigger on it. So now that I can start off with a nice Start Collecting box, it means that I will probably more than likely start a Tau army once I've got my Chaos Boys finished. The beauty of this as well is that the Start Collecting box sets are generally about 500 points-ish, maybe with a couple of extra units added in. It just means that rather than having to sort of focus loads of energy on, and resource on buying big armies, I can just sort of pick and choose a Start Collecting box set, get that painted up, get it on the table, we can play with it, and then if I never want to play with it again, then I don't feel like I've invested a lot of time and money and effort into that army. So I'm just really excited about Combat Patrol. I think it's something that will bring a lot of people in, just from all the points that I mentioned. It's definitely something that's going to bring a lot of people in. A lot of people that I've spoken to already who had no interest in Warhammer 40k previously have already started expressing an interest in it. So I just think that this is going to be a new rebirth for Warhammer 40k in playing smaller games on smaller tables in less time with lower number model counts. It just ticks so many boxes for me, and I'm really excited for 9th edition landing so we can start getting some games in. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video on why I think that Combat Patrol is going to be the best thing since sliced bread in the new edition of Warhammer 40k. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Is there anything that I missed? Is there anything that you would also add? Anything else that you're looking forward to in Combat Patrol? If you want to support the channel in any way, check out all the links in the description below. There's links to our Patreon. There's links to our Element Games affiliate account where we get a little kickback for everything that you buy from Element Games. So go and click that link if you're going to be buying some toys. It helps us out on the channel loads. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you later.